I didn't cry at my graduation, but that wasn't surprising. I've never been the type to wear my emotions on my sleeve. I clapped when everyone else clapped, smiled when the camera panned over me, and hugged my parents because that's what you're supposed to do when you finish something everyone says is important. My mom told me she was proud. My dad just nodded, already checking his phone afterwards. My sister didn't show up. She sent a text about traffic, then posted a picture from a cafe with friends. I didn't feel hurt by it. Her absence had become normal over the years. She was always somewhere else, living a life that seemed to be taken care of by the world in ways I couldn't quite understand. Later that evening, back in my apartment, I sat down to pay bills. It was something I did the same day every month, a habit I picked up during my last year of school when my parents' finances started to get messy. At first, I helped out temporarily. Then, it just became a way of life: electricity, internet, taxes, loans, and mortgage contributions. I didn't resent it, not really. I told myself it was practical. I had a stipend and their income was unpredictable. I was a responsible one. Responsibility often dresses itself up as virtue when no one ever thanks you for it. The will came to me by accident. An email was forwarded one step too far, the subject line clearly not meant for me. The language was sterile, the legal jargon made it easier to digest the imbalance: percentages, assets, beneficiaries. My sister inherited the house, a savings, and the land my grandfather had bought decades ago. I got nothing, not even a little token, no watch, no book, not even a note to acknowledge my efforts. At first, I thought it was a mistake. I read it again, slowly. Then again. The way you reread instructions when something goes wrong and you're sure you followed them. Later that night, I called my mom. She didn't deny it. She didn't offer an explanation either. She just said, "You're independent. Your sister needs security." Those words hit with a dull finality, not cruel, just complete. After the call, I sat on the edge of my bed, reflecting on the past 5 years in small, unflattering pieces: me picking up extra freelance work just to get through 1 month, me setting up autopay so they wouldn't miss any deadlines, me being told I was good with money like it was something inherent about me, not just labor I was putting in. I wasn't angry, which surprised me. What I felt was a strange clarity, a recognition that I had been confusing love with maintenance. The next morning, I canceled the auto payments. No drama, no speeches. I just logged into every account and removed my card details. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't warn them. I simply stopped doing a job I was never officially hired for. The silence afterward was almost peaceful. Weeks went by with no calls, no accusations, no sudden apologies. It confirmed something I hadn't been willing to admit. My role had been invisible. They noticed stability, not the person who was making it happen. I focused on my work. I paid my own rent for the first time. I let myself picture a future that didn't revolve around shielding others from their own risks. Then, at the end of the month, my phone buzzed. The mortgage is due. No greeting, no context, just urgency, wrapped in an assumption. I stared at the message longer than necessary, noticing that my body didn't tense up like it used to. There was no panic, no instinct to fix things. I typed, erased, retyped. Finally, I sent. "I'm no longer covering household expenses. You'll need to handle it directly with the bank." Death. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. "Ask mommy." "Why do you mean?" I didn't reply immediately, not to punish her, just to be accurate. I wanted to respond without letting any emotion sneak into the message. "I mean, the payment stopped last month. I thought you'd noticed." There was a long pause after that. Enough time for me to imagine them sitting at the kitchen table, papers spread out. The system they relied on now exposed because it wasn't holding everything together anymore. My dad called. I let it ring. When I listened to his voicemail, later, his voice was strained but controlled. He said they were confused. That word again. Like this was some kind of surprise, rather than something that had been building up. The next call didn't come from them. It came from the bank, a polite email, using neutral language outlining missed payments, deadlines, and options without a hint of sentiment. Authority has a way of stripping everything down to just the facts. When my mom texted again, it was different. "The bank says the account is in arrears. They want to speak to whoever was paying before." I responded with the same measured tone. You can tell them it was voluntary support, not a contractual obligation." That was the moment the shift occurred. My absence stopped being emotional and started becoming a procedural matter. My sister called that evening. She didn't sound angry, just unsettled. She asked why I hadn't said anything. I didn't think I needed permission to stop. I told her, and she didn't argue. She didn't apologize either. She simply said she hadn't realized how much I had been doing. That was the closest I'd ever come to getting recognition. And it didn't feel like a win. It felt too late. In the weeks that followed, things adjusted. The house didn't disappear overnight. My parents negotiated, downsized, redefined their expectations, the world didn't come crashing down. It just stopped being patted by my quiet support. Our conversation started to change in tone. Requests were framed more like questions now, sometimes. They didn't ask at all. I noticed a distance forming, not hostile, just factual. A recalibration of roles, occasionally. Guilt tried to creep. And not because I'd done something wrong, but because I'd done something different. We're taught that pulling back is cruelty, even when the giving was never truly reciprocated. One quiet evening, I reread the will. This time, it didn't sting. It felt like a document from another era, describing a version of me who was assumed. Not consulted, I closed the file. I didn't inherit anything, I didn't get an apology. What I gained was the ability to stop mistaking endurance for love.